Hello and welcome back to Arsenal Analysed after what is a prolonged break during the Christmas and New Year period. But nonetheless, we are back. And today I have for you a match preview. Arsenal host Crystal Palace this weekend at the Emirates. And after a number of difficult results to swallow, can Arsenal get their title challenge back on track? Plenty to discuss, plenty to review. So if you are looking forward to today's video, do go ahead and smash that like button. If you're new around here, please do consider subscribing. But let's waste no more time at all and have a look at some of those difficult results that us Arsenal fans have had to swallow of late. So looking at the team form of both sides, starting with Arsenal, we most recently, feels like ages ago now, a few weeks, Arsenal have been out in Dubai for some hot weather training, a well-deserved rest, maybe some team bonding. And this all came off the back of a difficult FA Cup game that we did dominate in that first half, but not being clinical, maybe not having a striker that can finish those chances have come back to haunt Arsenal. And we've certainly seen our fair share of criticism over the last few weeks from certain sections of the fan base crying out for Arsenal to sign a striker in this January window. Whether that happens or not, we'll have to wait and see. Prior to this, Arsenal did lose away from home to Fulham. A lot of Arsenal fans thought that that would be the game where we bounced back after a difficult loss at the hands of West Ham at the Emirates, which, in all fairness, has been somewhat of a fortress for Arsenal this season. But as you can see, Arsenal losing 2 games in a row at the Emirates. So we'll certainly have to turn form around there if we are going to mount a late challenge for a Premier League title. Prior to this, we picked up a valuable point on the road at Anfield. Never an easy place to go. And it really does feel like ages ago now. But our last win came against Brighton. Looking at Crystal Palace, their most recent loss and their most recent game was in the Cup. And they also haven't picked up a win for a couple of games now. 2 games against Everton on the bounce, only picking up 1 point along the way. So some very indifferent form for Crystal Palace. A tough side to play against, and we'll have a look at the head-to-head in just a moment. Arsenal away from home, I found it very difficult against Palace, but at home, we're very, very comfortable. But Palace only winning 1 in their last 5, similarly to Arsenal. So this is a really, really vital fixture for both sides. Roy Hodgson under a lot of pressure at the moment at Crystal Palace. So a lot on the line for both sides and both managers. But let's have a quick look at the recent history between both clubs. Arsenal, thankfully, trumping Crystal Palace in this department with 12 wins compared to their 3. And Arsenal winning the majority of the most recent fixtures, the last 3, in fact. 1 at home, convincingly 4-1, and 2 away from home, where I said in the past, Arsenal have found it difficult to pick up results. But we have to take ourselves all the way back to, I think it's 2019. That was the last time Arsenal actually lost to Crystal Palace at home. We can see here it was a 3-2 loss. So quite a while ago now. So hopefully we don't see a repeat of that come Saturday, and Arsenal can convincingly put this fixture to bed early doors. What's really going to make a big difference in this fixture, a reason why Arsenal have struggled in certain games of late, is the number of players available. Arsenal have had quite a big injury list. So let's take a look who might be returning for this fixture come the weekend. So according to the Premier League injury list, Arsenal have potentially 7 players unavailable this weekend. At the time of recording this video, Arteta hasn't held his Arsenal conference. So there could be a number of key updates to players I expect to feature this weekend. And the most obvious one is Jurrien Timber. Now, it says here that his potential return date is the 20th of April, but he has been training with Arsenal. He did go away for that warm weather training. He's been playing football. He's been running on the grass. He's been integrating with that first team. And the initial expectation was that he would feature sometime in sort of February, maybe March time. I'm thinking more March, but it's not going to have any effect on the game this weekend. Likewise with Fabio Vieira, this fixture is going to come a little too early for him, still unavailable until at least February. Same with Thomas Partey. There was a big expectation. A lot of people did think that Thomas Partey would be returning slightly earlier in January, didn't go away to the African Cup of Nations. Going to be a real key fixture potentially if we can keep him fit in that back end, that business end of the season. But as you've just seen there, those players mentioned, none of them are going to be available for at least the next few weeks. But where things do change is we could see the return of Zinchenko. Now, he is key in the way that we break certain teams down, those that like to sit in a compact low block. Now, Crystal Palace don't necessarily always play like that. Maybe we expect them to do that on Saturday as they're away from home. And someone like Zinchenko who can come back into the fold, he's really good at sitting in that midfield role and breaking the line. So fingers crossed he is available. He is more than expected to return, as suggested here, the 20th of January, which is the day of kickoff. The same with Gabriel Jesus, who picked up a knock or had some knee pain, and he is fully expected to return. Now, he's not that clinical goal scorer that Arsenal maybe need right now, or the one that Arsenal fans are screaming out for. But you would like to think that if he had featured in some of those games, Arsenal may have picked up a point or two or progressed in the FA Cup against Liverpool, where we really did dominate that first half, but just didn't take our chances. So a welcome return, in my opinion, for Gabriel Jesus, should he get the knock. And I'm fully expecting that to be the case. And the last two are Mohamed Elneny and Takahiro Tomiyasu, who will both be unavailable as they're away for one, the African Cup of Nations, and also the Asian Cup as well. But let's have a look at Crystal Palace. Who do they have unavailable? Are there any key players where Arsenal might be able to take advantage of players being missing in those systems they typically tend to use? So a couple of players here straight away that we know that are definitely not going to feature. We've got Decore, Raksakie, they're definitely not going to feature. Likewise with Rob Holding, unfortunately for him, he's not going to have that return to the Emirates that maybe he was once looking forward to. The same with Joe Wald and Michael Elise. You have to say he would be a key feature in this Crystal Palace side if he does feature. There is no return date as such. Again, Roy Hodgson is yet to hold his press conference, so there might be a surprise in there. But look, let's not think that because some of these key players are unavailable for Crystal Palace, they still have players there that can hurt Arsenal. Eze being one of them. He was brought off fairly early against Everton in the Cup midweek, to the dismay of many Crystal Palace fans. Maybe Roy Hodgson had one eye on the weekend. He will certainly be a key player that Arsenal will have to keep an eye on this weekend, whether or not the likes of Michael Elise and other key players are available. Okay, looking ahead to the predicted lineup of both sides, we've headed over to SofaScore, where they have predicted the lineup for both Arsenal as well as Crystal Palace. Starting with Crystal Palace, please do let me know if there are any fans watching or any Arsenal fans that regularly watch Crystal Palace. Is this the 11 that you expect? How do you see them shaping up? And as I mentioned just a moment ago, there are definitely a number of players there that Arsenal will certainly have to keep a keen eye on. The obvious one for me being Eze, but there are others as well. We've been at the hands of Schlupp in the past. Mateta can be dangerous, a real physical presence, especially from set pieces and corners, a place where Arsenal have been undone of late, and an area that Arsenal once prided themselves in. So things that we have to keep an eye on for sure. But looking at the Arsenal predicted lineup, do I agree? Do I disagree with anything that I see here? So initially they have gone with Aaron Ramsdale in goal, which I'm slightly surprised by. Not that I'm knocking Aaron Ramsdale in any way, shape or form, but to me at least, it very much seems that David Raya is Arsenal's or Arteta's number one at the moment. So unless I'm missing something with an injury which wasn't picked up in that last section, I fully expect David Raya to start this game. The other one, when looking at the back four, is Jakub Kiwior, with Tomiyasu being away at the Asian Cup and there still being question marks over Zinchenko. He would be the obvious choice to get the nod at left back should Zinchenko not be available. But in my opinion, I do think that Zinchenko will be fit and we will see him feature. Moving into midfield, there are certainly no question marks over the likes of Martin, Odegaard and Declan Rice starting in midfield. But one question that has rumbled on all season long is who should be featuring regularly in that left 8 role. And it very much depends on our opponent, of course. If you're playing against a team that are often defending and looking to hit Arsenal on counter-attacks, then yes, you'd probably play the likes of Kai Havertz or even Trossard. We've seen him feature there from time to time. And I fully expect that to be the case. Kai Havertz has been featuring in this Arsenal side regularly of late, picking up goals and assists. Really unlucky not to pick himself up a goal against Liverpool. I think he had 5 opportunities just to himself in that first half. Really unlucky not to pick up a goal. Looking at the front three, fully expect Bukayo Saka to feature on the right-hand side. On the left, Gabriel Martinelli, who's been out of form of sorts. A lot of Arsenal fans asking whether or not Trossard should be given an opportunity. So that's certainly one to keep an eye on. But in my opinion, I do expect Gabriel Martinelli to feature on the left. And then finally, similarly to the left-back position, although in the last feature, we saw that Gabriel Jesus is expected to return this weekend. If there is an update that suggests otherwise, who could we see feature in this role? Maybe Trossard, maybe Kai Havertz with Trossard dropping into midfield, or Jorginho coming into midfield. Lots of possibilities there. But again, in my opinion, I fully expect Gabriel Jesus to get the nod up top. And I really want Arsenal to go all guns blazing with the strongest possible squad, put this form behind us, get back on track, and really start looking at that business end of the season. So before we wrap things up, a score prediction would be a good way to finish. So please do get your score predictions and who you think will feature in the starting lineup this weekend against Crystal Palace. But if I had to say how I think this game's going to pan out, I definitely think there's going to be some nerves coming into this game. There's going to be a lot of expectation on Arsenal to win and put this bad form behind us. Will that transpire into the... Not transpire, will that transition into the crowd? Will it be a bit of a nervy feeling in the atmosphere at the Emirates? An early goal would certainly settle things, come flying out early doors like we did against Liverpool and create lots of chances, but actually take some of them. That would really put this tie to bed nice and early. And I fully expect that to be the case. Arsenal have been away from all the media, lots of team bonding, a good rest in that warm weather training. So I'm going to go for a 3-0 Arsenal win this Saturday. Some of you may see it as a slightly closer affair. Either way, let me know down in the comments below how you see this one panning out. But for now, I'm JC, and I'll catch you in the next one. Like, subscribe, and I'll catch you after the game for instant reaction and analysis. But for now, I'm JC. Take care, stay safe, and come on, you Gunners.